What's up, guys? Good afternoon and welcome to Roma Theory. Our Europa League is back, and if you know me, it's not been a good moment, a good past few games for us, but whenever the European campaign restarts, there's something in me that calls for a big revenge, and I've been saying this ever since we lost that final. Europa League for me is very big. Europa League for me is very important, and look, let's face it. We pre-announced this. We pre-announced this in the match reaction after that Genoa game. Our next few games before this international break will probably determine our season. It's now or never. This team needs to respond, needs to react from a suicidal game against Juventus and a game against Genoa where the repercussions of that suicide came out. We need an instant reaction. On Thursday in the first leg against Bologna away in the round of 16 of the Europa League, and on Sunday against Como. So it is the moment to buckle up. It is the moment to look at this season, take each game, look at it directly in the eyes and face it with what you have. I've actually seen a very interesting post on one of my favorite Roma pages on Instagram. Shout out to Lavena di De Rossi. It's in Italian, but this I don't know him personally, but I assume it's a guy. In fact, I know it's a guy. He writes very well after each game, and I think he said a very fair thing after the Genoa game, where you could definitely tell that the frustration of fans came out, that fans were protesting that we've got these players, that these players aren't good enough, that some of these players have been here for 7 years and nothing has changed. And he said that all of us know that at the end of this season, a lot of players need to go. But I feel like saying and constantly repeating these things during the season when this team is playing for its season in the next 15 days does not do the good of ourselves and the good of this football club. So this is what we have. You cannot change it. You might not like some players that are in this team, and I absolutely agree with you. But there is no need to constantly repeat this after we lose every game during the season. These are things that we can say and that the club needs to do in the winter transfer session or in the summer transfer session. During the season when we play games, we need to try and eliminate this frustration, because this is what we have and this is who we are. We've got so many injured players which have crucified our season. We've got players that have been injured for about 5 months and have crucified our season. Adding onto this, our squad depth instantly, even when everyone would be fit, isn't amazing. This is who we are. So complaining, protesting, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like this, right now is absolutely pointless. I say and propose one thing, that we unite with the players that we have right now, and that we need to fight in every single game that we will be playing until June. Whether that's going to be in 2 competitions, whether we go far in the Europa League, whether our league is compromised after this Sunday, I don't know. I just want to stay behind this team, face each game step by step, and see wherever we will be at the end of the season. And then there will be time for calculations, for that guy needs to go, that guy needs to go, that guy needs to go. So this is my little introduction. Also, another very big what do we call it? Announcement. If this video gets 200 likes, I'm gonna bring watch-alongs back for every Europa League game where I won't be at the stadium or where I won't go away if we advance in future rounds. So if this video gets 200 likes, I will do a watch-along tomorrow with my friends, with some beers, and we'll have fun all together. 200 likes is the like target, and there's going to be a live watch-along tomorrow after I don't know how long. Okay, let's now look at this game. I spoke about this game whenever the draw came out. It would be a lie to say that I would have preferred the Bologna over Genk. Absolutely not. I, in a sense, am a bit skeptical about this game for many different reasons. I do think there were favourites over the course of the two legs. I would definitely pen us as favourites, also seeing the European experience that we have gathered in these past seasons. But I would be very cautious to say that we are 100% going to go through for numerous reasons. Number one, we need a reaction. If you don't react, you won't win on Thursday. And if you don't win on Thursday, yes, the second leg is away. It's at home. But it's always better not to lose the first leg. You need a reaction. That Juventus game has influenced these players psychologically. So you need to bounce back and eliminate that. Eliminate the Genoa game, eliminate that Juve game. Don't focus on the Como game this Sunday. That will come after this game. Because if you play this game with a lot of thoughts in your mind, you're not going to win it. You are facing a team which has 100% under exceeded expectations this season. Everyone was expecting a better season from Bologna, probably on every point of view. But this is a team that has got this competition and that's it. Like, they will treat this competition as the last survival kit to save this season. Because if they don't, it's been a bit of a failure for Bologna, and Italiano knows this. Out of the Coppa Italia, very low in the league. I mean, not very low, but seen last season and seen 2 years ago where they got in the Champions League, I definitely think that this season has been very disappointing. A lot of players have underperformed this season, or at least they started off very well, and then around November, end of November, Christmas, December, they started to crumble down. And they've lost a lot of games. But, you need to be cautious because, as I said before, Bologna are going to treat this tournament as they treated the Coppa Italia last season. Like, as something that can save your season. Now, I don't think Bologna are going to win it. But I wouldn't have thought Bologna would have won the Coppa Italia last season either, if you get my point. It's a game that we've been very unlucky because we could have avoided it, and it's probably the worst game that comes in the round of 16 because it's a derby, it's an Italian derby in Europe, so it's probably going to lead to an initial block where the teams are going to study each other. It's going to be... I expect a slow start on Thursday. I don't expect the two teams coming at it together immediately. These are two teams that know each other, and these are two teams that have already played against each other many times over the last seasons. The players against each other know who they're playing against, so they won't start on an assault, which I guess is good because the entire second game is at the Olimpico, and we all know what the Olimpico transforms in these European nights. But we've got a first leg first, and I think the biggest mistake that the players can make on Thursday, and the manager, is we've got a game on Sunday against Como that can determine our season in the league. I'm going to rest everyone against Bologna knowing that I've got a second leg at home for that Como game. And that's where you lose it. And that's where you lose the tie. Because, yes, we've improved when it comes to number of goals scored with Malin. But if we need a comeback next week, you need goals. And apart from Malin, the last thing this team shouts at me is I can score goals. Especially up front, where Sule is out, Dybala's out, Dovbik's out, and Ferguson is out. Malin scores goals, but Malin needs support. And if the support behind him is Pellegrini and, Zaragoza, I'm not crucifying Zaragoza, that's not my point. However, he will struggle more. So you see how everything in this stage of the season where everything is so close together, everything can have a domino effect. Like one game, one bad attitude, one suicidal approach to a game has a knock-on effect. and knock-on effects right now in March, mid-March, will end up being catastrophic. You need to go far in this Europa League. You need to go far in this Europa League. Because I highly doubt, now that you've bottled that Juve game and you backed it up with a defeat in Genoa, and now there's a very high chance that you don't win on Sunday against Como, there's a very high chance that you're not going to get top four. Very high chance. You know, you went from +7 situation to a +1 on Juve situation, but you've got midweek games, you've got a restricted squad, and you've got a worse calendar. So if I had to bet my money on whether what the easiest path to take to try and play Champions League football next season, whether it's top 4 Europa League, my money is on that. My money is on that Europa League. It's not on that top 4. You had the chance. You didn't culminate that chance. You need to treat this Europa League well. As I said, I will not tolerate you snubbing this tournament. Because we were saying this in the fan forum. Speaking about Champions League or not, you know, there's a chance to lift a trophy here. And what I will say is this. If you don't win it this season, you're never going to win it. This is the easiest Europa League campaign that I have seen in many years. As I said, I would put Villa as favourites, but Villa are not living a good moment. And Villa are definitely not invincible. So last season was harder. You had Man United, you had Spurs that won it, you had Bilbao in it. You know, the 3 years ago you had Milan in it. You had Man United in it again. Atalanta in it, Liverpool in it. The year you got to Budapest, you had Barcelona in it, United in it, Leverkusen in it. Like, you get the point. This is your chance. If you do not, I'm not saying, well, it's too easy for me to go. If you don't win it, get out. No, that's too harsh. You know, football is this. I'm not saying that you're the favorites, that if you don't win it, you're a loser. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying is that if you don't treat it well this season with a chance of going far, then you might as well stop qualifying for Europa League, and whenever you do qualify for Europa League, just put the kids in so we can breathe and prepare for our league games. This is your chance. You've got a complicated tie against Bologna. But it's now or never. It is now or never. My predicted lineup is Villar. Mancini is suspended, so I think Cilic will drop down with Ndika and Ghilardi next to him. Wrench and Wesley on the flanks. Kone Cristante in the middle. Zaragoza Pisilli up front and Malen up front. I would not be surprised if Pellegrini starts, of course. I don't want to see Pellegrini start because lately with Pellegrini, it's like playing with 10 men. So I don't want to see Pellegrini in the starting lineup. Other than that, I think it's going to be this. We don't have other options. We don't. Venturino's not on the UEFA list. Vaz is. But you know what the problem is? You know, look, at the end of the day, my big fear that I've kind of portrayed to you in these past few days with that Juve game, with that Genoa game, and going into this period, my fear is that we're living in an infinite loop. And the reason I say this is not because... The reason I say this is because of injuries. I feel like we live in an infinite loop where we always have a decimated team whenever the crucial part of the season comes in. And it's because of this that we haven't been playing Champions League football over the last years, and why we haven't won the Europa League in the last 2 editions. Because we always get to the stage of the season where you need the full squad, and that squad is not there. And that's my big fear. My big fear is that this season, we're in this loop. Last season, it was like this. I take Dybala as an example, but Dybala's not the only one. Dybala last season, in the crucial stage of the season, mid-March, gets injured. Look, the year we got to Budapest, Dybala injured when you need him. I remember Llorente, the defender, injured when you need him. Tammy wasn't fit. Tammy tore his ACL post Budapest, which influenced you. I feel like you get my point. Whenever you need that full squad, it's punctually never there. And I think that is the reason why we haven't achieved what we want to achieve in the last 5 years. Because it's always been like this, and that's a problem. That is a problem that needs to be ultimately tackled this summer. You need to do something about this. You need to do something about this. And this is my fear, because I trust these players. These players this season have shown desire, that they've shown attachment to the manager. You can't really say much to the majority of these players. They are giving it their best. But I feel like it's when everything needs to come together, everyone gets injured. And it's always like this. And it leads to us chucking the season away because we're not able to sustain 2 competitions. So we need to choose between the 2, and then we go all in one, and then we don't, and then it doesn't go well. So look, our squad is very, very, very torn apart at the moment. You don't have many substitutions. You don't have substitutions that I say bring them on and they're going to change you the game. Now, again, they can start and they can sit on their bench, but I look at this lineup that I've designed for tomorrow's game, and I'm like, who comes on and changes the game? Who does this manager pick from the bench to give Malin a rest? Because you will have to ultimately give Malin a rest and say he can be Malin's substitution. Who, for instance, Dybala and Soulé are injured. You have nobody that can come in. You need to adapt players in different positions. And that is the problem, I think, at this football club. Our team is so injury prone. It's been so injury prone for the past 80 years. And it's the reason why we've been living in this constant infinite loop of, we already know what's happening. We already know what's coming. But look, bring it on. I'm massively enthusiastic and ecstatic about Europa League starting again. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this double tie against Bologna. And I'm looking forward to it. As I remind you, if we get 200 likes on this video, I will be doing a live watch along tomorrow with friends, some beers. We'll have fun together. So 200 likes and live watch alongs will be back tomorrow for this game. And if we get 200 likes in future videos where I will tell you, then we're going to keep it for the Europa League games while I'll be sitting at home and watch them. Look, hit the like, subscribe, let me know your thoughts going into this game. We need a reaction. Don't look at that Como game. We look at that Como game on Friday, tomorrow evening, after the game, not before the game, because otherwise it will absolutely crucify you. Okay, I'll speak to you soon. Simo out.